Welcome back to Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. This is your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Yep. The other host is in the building, T.O.
Building!
And we have three-time NBA champion, Los Angeles Lakers.
Showtime is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Byron Scott.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show,
man,
brother.
Pleasure to be here,
This is our second Laker,
pleasure
right?
To be
This
here.
is our second, well, third. I guess Mitch Richmond counts, even though he was.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know,
Well, not really.
he don't count. You know what? Thank you for clearing
I
that
love
up.
Mitch. I love The Rock. That's my boy. But nah, if you play a year or two on the Lake, that don't count as being a Laker. No.
Okay, well,
no.
here's the question that everybody's always talking about, right? You got your greatest Lakers of all time. They always throw Kobe and Magic and Kareem, right? And when
Shaquille O'Neal.
When LeBron got here, they wanted to throw him in that conversation. I had a problem with it, but everybody else is like, he should be. He won a ring in the bubble, so you don't.
But
you
it's
don't,
to your point of what
Right.
you're saying. Like, what does it take to be established or be known as like a lifetime Laker?
Yes.
You know what? Our standards are so different than a lot of organizations, and I think that's what makes the Lakers organization special. Is because. Just because LeBron is one of the greatest that ever played the game, you put on a Lakers uniform and you're there 3 or 4 years, you're still not going to be mentioned, in my opinion, as one of the greatest Lakers.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion,
Right.
longevity of being with an organization to me is a key.
Tenure.
Is key. You know, he wins a second championship. Yeah, you could talk about him as one of the greatest Lakers, but still, in my mind,
Years.
you got to be there. You know, you almost got to be a lifelong Laker.
Let's talk about this second champion. The second year he's there and he wins the championship.
Was it a real championship?
That's what I'm going to. I tend to stand with Pat Riley, who made this statement as well.
Okay.
It's questionable. It's a bubble championship. Yes. Do you have the ring, the banner? But I think for a lot of people, I'm like Pat Riley. There should be an asterisk,
Absolutely.
on that championship because there were just so many different variables and factors that went into that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Granted, like you said, we're not discounting LeBron's greatness. Let me say that
not
right
at all.
now.
Not at
Where's
all.
my camera? We're not disputing your greatness, but for me, it's
you
just
see that
something.
button on there, yeah.
It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right.
Tino, I hear you. I hear you. I just wonder if Pat Riley and the Miami Heat won, would he be saying the same thing? You know what I'm saying? So if they beat the Lakers in the finals, now is he going to be saying, you know what, we really shouldn't take this championship or count this? It's the same thing with San Antonio with the 50-game season back in the day, and they beat New York. Everybody's talking about it. It should be an asterisk.
Right.
Listen, I just believe as long as the playing field is even.
Okay.
Shouldn't be an asterisk.
Okay.
I know it was a bubble and all that stuff, but everybody had to play it. Everybody had to go through the same situation.
Right.
So why is it the fact that the Lakers win, everybody wants to put an asterisk or discount?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a reason why we put an asterisk by it.
Give me one.
Because it's not an equal playing field because somebody of LeBron's age at the time needed that rest in order to rejuvenate his body, else his body would have started to tail in like it has in all of these other seasons since he's been at the Lakers.
Okay,
Come on.
but
now
listen,
answer that, B. Scott. Answer that, B. Scott.
But again, everybody got a chance to rest.
But he needed it more.
No,
as
you
a
can't.
35,
First of all,
36-year-old.
First of all, that 35, 36-year-old man keeps himself in shape better than most of them 25, 26-year-old men.
I will agree with you on that.
He takes care of his body better than most of those guys.
Yeah,
he puts millions of dollars into making sure that he's able to play every single night.
No, he's a guy that
there is the same playing field, as far as I'm concerned. It's a level playing field. All those guys had the same opportunity to get as much rest as they could as well.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Now, you won. I lost that one. I'm 0 for 1 today.
No rebuttal.
No rebuttal, 0. We'll talk about a level playing field. Let's talk about the three-point line, right?
Yeah.
Again, back in the day, like I said, you shot the mid-range, which is now today's three-point mark pretty much.
Yeah.
How many points you think you'd be averaging in today's game?
Oh, wow. With the Lakers Showtime team?
With
Or just period?
Just in
period.
general. Like,
Just in
yeah,
general.
you're playing in
25,
nice.
26.
Wow.
That's
Because again, the way you shot the ball, it's just the three-point line, what, 3 feet difference back in the day from now?
No, it's the same.
They moved it up.
They moved it. Well, the original line,
Yes.
and then they moved it up, but then they moved it back.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So they
right,
moved
right,
it back to the original state that it was,
Right.
when they had it,
Right.
implemented into the NBA in the first
Right.
place. I just know, obviously the game is different.
Right, the
It's a
game.
different
The
era.
3-point
Is
shot
a weapon.
it wasn't
a weapon for us.
Right.
Big men were the focus
Right.
of
Right.
Inside
offense.
and
Inside out. And that's how we
Right.
played. We went inside to Kareem, we went inside to James Worthy. Magic, when he started posting up, we went inside and we played the game from the inside out.
Right.
The game today is played from the outside in.
Yes.
We never, in our wildest dreams, wouldn't have thought about coming down on a 3-on-2 fast break with me on this wing and James Worthy on this wing, Magic, and I'm going to stop over there and shoot a three.
Right.
I'm trying to get a dunk or a layup.
It's this.
You hit the free throw line,
We going
you start
in.
to go to the
It's-
basket. You know what I'm saying?
Today's game.
Today they come down and they go straight there,
Right.
and they're shooting three. It's just a different game. So if the game was played that way back when we played, I would average 25, 26 points a game.
Wow.
Yeah, these guys are taking up really greater shots for good shots.
Right.
Oh,
know what I
they
mean?
pass up layups all day. You
Right,
see people
exactly.
run up under the basket.
And you can
no, I don't
see
want it.
sometimes it will, in essence, come out be a deciding factor in some games because
Right.
you go back and you rewind the tape, and especially if you're a coach, like, yo, if we go to the basket instead of going to the 3-point line where they possibly miss these shots, then like that's a difference. That's a 2-4 point game swing.
Well, if you look at the percentages, you got a 90% chance of making a layup.
Right.
You got a 33% chance of making a three.
Right.
But see, the analytics tells us that, all right, he makes 4 or 5 layups, but if you take 12 threes and you make them at that clip, it's about the same amount of points.
Right.
Okay,
Equals
so-
You
out.
know what I mean? So
Right.
it kind of evens itself out. The mid-range game is gone.
Gone. It's
it's
a
either
dunk or a 3-point.
It's
That's
either a
it.
layup or dunk, or it's a three-pointer.
Only a few people are keeping that mid game.
Absolutely.
You got DeMar DeRozan,
Yeah.
CP3, and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
They're the ones that really just keeping that
And
mid-range
Booker's
game.
trying to bring it back.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
But all those guys you mentioned are guys that can create their own shots.
True.
The guys that can't, they're gonna play off of the stars. LeBron, he takes it to the basket. Everybody collapse. You're kicking it out to your 3-point shooters because that's what they do. They catch and shoot. Whereas the three guys, I would put another one. Kawhi Leonard is another guy.
Okay.
That gets to that mid-range game and can knock down those shots.
Right.
But those guys understand that those shots are just as important as trying to shoot threes, and the percentage of them making those shots are a whole lot higher than it is for them trying to shoot threes.
Wow. Well, yeah, and you were NBA Coach of the Year. So you tell us, has analytics ruined the game?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
When did you see it start to change?
Well, I really started to see it change when I got to the Lakers as a coach.
Okay, yeah.
Because they use that so much as a weapon, because of that. Well, the analytics tells us, and I'm saying, well, I understand the analytics. You got to shoot more threes, but you can't shoot more threes if you ain't guys that can't
shoot the three.
Well, they can shoot them, they just
But
can't,
they can't make them. I said, so what is that analytics
don't
telling you?
help no analytics.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what is that telling you?
Right.
You telling me that we got to live by the analytics, and I'm telling you, we don't have guys that can make threes on a consistent basis. If I'm in Golden State, hell yeah,
Then
analytics. I got Klay Thompson.
I don't need
I
analytics
got
for
Steph
that,
Curry.
though.
Yeah, as a coach, I don't need that. I know these guys can shoot.
Right.
So I think it's just giving some of the nerds, so to speak, in the world a place in the NBA when they wouldn't have had a place.
Yeah.
Because of the numbers.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as a purist and a guy who played the game and watches the game, I'm looking at some guys like, okay, I know, you guys got to shoot three, but you can't make them. Why would you keep shooting
Why would you
them?
keep
Right,
shooting
right.
them?
For example, let's go to Game 7 of the Boston and Miami Heat series.
Right.
We're talking about the three versus going to make a layup. What do you think about Jimmy Butler's
Decision?
his decision to make that, to shoot a three versus, for me, who's one of the better finishers at the rim, creating contact, creating fouls. What do you think about that decision for him to take that three versus going in on an Al Horford and going in possibly getting an and one to tie the game, or obviously win it?
Yeah. You know what? To be honest with you, I was smiling when he took the shot. I was like, that's balls.
Right.
That's balls. Because I tell you another guy who did the same exact thing, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Right.
Because in his mind, it was, I'm going to end this right now.
Yeah.
I want to win this game right
and
now.
I think that's what I want our viewers to hear and understand is that as a player, like I said, you don't think about analytics. You're playing the flow of the game. You understand that this guy's been playing 40+ minutes every night.
Right.
And he has an opportunity, the ball in his hands.
Send him home.
To win the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to your point, you're like, yo, I want to end this right now.
I would have took the shot.
Listen, I had Kyrie Irving when I was coaching in Cleveland.
Yep.
And we were playing in Toronto. Game tied, you know. And I think we're down 2. Same type of scenario. And called a timeout. I said, all right, we're going to get the ball, Kyrie, 1-4, everybody flat on baseline. I said, do what you do. And he stopped and went on the court. Then he came back. He said, Coach, what would you do? I said, I would shoot the 3.
Wow.
I said, I would put him out their misery.
Right.
So he has the ball. You know, he's at the, a little bit beyond the 3-point line, just looking at the clock. The clock started running down. He took a couple of steps. The dude backed up. Bam, 3.
Mentality.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's that killer. But like I said, I would have shot the same thing. I would have tried to shoot a 3 to put him out of the misery.
Right. So Kyrie, right? Had Kyrie at a young age, obviously, right? What was some of the early things you saw, like, yo, this kid's going to be great? Or did you not see those things when he was a younger player?
No, you know what? When we drafted him, I told everybody he's going to be Rookie of the Year. That's what I'm telling you right now. This kid is special. He had no weaknesses.
Okay.
You know, I said, man, God blessed us with the #1 pick, and we get a chance to get this kid. After a workout, I was like, this dude's unbelievable. Had no weaknesses. I mean, can go left, right, pull up off the jumper, off the dribble, catch and shoot, could post up. Great finisher when he got to basketball with either hand. And I was just like, oh, my God, this dude is amazing. Now, I had Chris Paul, I had Jason Kidd, I had Baron Davis, I had some great point guards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this dude had no weakness.
Wow.
So I knew, going into his rookie year, that I was like, man, I'm telling all those sports writers, he gonna win it, a Rookie of the Year. I'm telling you right now. And he's gonna be an all-star multiple times. I said, and if he stays healthy, God willing, he'll be a Hall of Famer. You know, and that still is true today. I mean, he's had so many injuries and things that he had to, kind of get over, and then he's had some other stuff where the world is flat and all this bullshit.
The mess.
We got to talk about that, one of these days. Come on, Kyrie, come on, dog. Really,
talk about.
But
he's
talent-wise, he's different.
He's
different, but he's really. I think he's misunderstood in some instances, but I think he's a really terrific young man. But the kid, talent-wise, man. Point guard-wise, is unbelievable.
Listening to you talk, we had your teammate Michael Cooper here
My man,
ago.
Black Gable.
And you're sitting here telling us about a rookie, how you assessed him, and he did the same thing. They brought him down to assess Kobe.
Yes.
And he worked out Kobe. And he was saying some of the same things, like, they looking each other down. Kobe sized him up. And, he's denying Kobe. He's playing Kobe like left, right, whatever the case may be. And Kobe he's balling. He's countering everything that, Michael Cooper is defending him on. So give us something about, obviously you came his rookie year, came back. Give us something about Kobe that you saw, similar to what you saw in Kyrie, like, this kid is gonna be that guy. And honestly, we obviously knew and saw his struggles in the playoffs, shooting the air balls and things of that nature. But aside from that, what did you see?
I saw hunger with this kid that I hadn't seen in a long time. He would be at the gym shooting. 10 o'clock practice. He's there at 8 o'clock, 8:30, and they didn't even have the lights on. He's out shooting. Because I remember coming to practice, because at that time I was old. I needed to get there an hour and a half, stretch, ice down, get my heat packs on and all that. Yeah. And I came in one day, and it was at the Forum, and I'm walking in, I can hear a ball bouncing. So I go out towards the court, and I mean, from afar, I still couldn't see nobody because it was dark. So I get halfway to the court, and I saw Kobe shooting. And I stood there for probably about a minute. And I was like, this dude, I was like, wow. Went back, saw my boy Gary. I said, how long has he been here? He said, he got here before I did.
Wow. And Gary Vidi's long-time trainer.
Yeah, still greatest trainer ever, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, this kid's been here, I don't know what time he got here because he was here before I got here.
Wow.
When I got here, he was already dressed and about to walk out on the court.
Yep.
And then going through practice and watching him play, I was just like, man, this kid has a chance to be amazing.
Wow.
And then he would sit by me during games and just ask me questions.
Yeah.
Just sitting there asking. So we got to be real tight.
Right.
Because he was a sponge, and he would just sit by me on the bench, on the bus, just ask questions. Can we go here? Can we do that? What about this? What about that? And I remember sitting down talking to him, and I was like, what do you want to do on this league? What do you want to get out of it? And he said, I want to be one of the greatest players to ever play in this league. And I mean, we looked at each other and just stared at each other, and I looked at him, I said, you will be. I said, you will be. You keep working like you're working, you will be. Right. And so it was amazing. Just his work ethic was something that I had, even at 18 years old, was far above any guys that was in the league at that time.
Right. And fast forward to now, we obviously know Kobe, pretty much a carbon copy of a guy that obviously you guys have had battles with out of Chicago, and Michael Jordan. Give us something that you saw in Kobe.
Similarity.
Yeah, a lot of similarity. Because obviously, like I said, we've seen some CGI stuff.
Yeah, not the physical stuff. But
Right.
Some of that
No, the
mental
mentality.
stuff. The mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about those two guys, Kobe's mentality was so much like MJ's. Because MJ was I'm a kill you type guy. You know what I mean?
So when you talk about your
prisoners.
top 3 or your top 5, like, greatest players, where does he rank? Because a lot of people throw in LeBron and MJ and Kobe sometimes get
Kobe.
lost.
Yeah.
Like they don't. It's almost like they've forgotten
What he did.
like what
he
he's
did for
accomplished
15
and who
years.
he is.
Yeah, you know what? If you put a top 10 together, I think it goes without saying Kobe's in the top 10. No, without question. I don't. If somebody that's supposed to be an NBA aficionado says that he's not in the top 10, you got to drug test his ass because something's wrong.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When you talk about Kareem, you talk about Michael Jordan, you talk about Magic Johnson. You talk about Tim Duncan, who's a lot of people don't talk about
Mr.
Mr. Fundamental because he just didn't do nothing flashy. But man, he was
Results.
unbelievable.
Results.
And you got Kobe in there, LeBron in there. You got 10 guys that you can name almost like that.
Right.
Now it gets hard when you go to the top 5. That's when it gets hard.
You're right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Because to me still, as much as I love MJ and everybody's already kind of said he's the greatest, and I think it's hard to say who's the greatest because of eras, because Kareem to me was the greatest. When you look at what he did in high school, college, pros, there's no resume close to his. UCLA plays 3 years, win 3 national championships, win 3 Player of the Year. And only we need him winning 4 years in a row because freshmen wasn't allowed to play varsity.
Wow.
And he used to always tell us that their varsity team at UCLA was ranked number 1 in the country. He said, but on campus they were ranked number 2.
Because
JV team, his team, he said beat them in practice.
I didn't know that.
You know, so I think everything that he was able to establish and do, when it comes down to the body of work, I think he's the greatest of all times. If you know, but there's going to be arguments because
Of course.
you got your LeBron lovers,
Right. Yeah,
who I love.
sure.
I think LeBron's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
You got your MJs, you know. So it's always those 3 guys that people talk about. But Kareem seems to be left off that list more times than not.
True.
You know. So when we come to talking about the best players of all time, I think when you talk about the top 10, Kobe Bryant is in there. You know.
100,000 out of 100,000.
100 lists, he should be in there 100 times.
Yeah.
Right.
When you get to the top 5, then it's going to be debatable.
Always.
Because for me, top 5, greatest. I'm always a position guy. I go by who's the top center, who's the top power forward, who's the top small forward. Point guard to me, greatest point guard of all time is Magic Johnson.
Okay, well let's go over that. Okay, you got Magic at your 1.
Yeah.
Okay, who's at your 2?
Michael Jordan.
All right, who's at your 3?
That's debatable.
Okay, all right.
That's the one I had trouble with.
That's the tough one.
That's the tough one.
The tough
Number 4, though, is Tim Duncan.
Right.
Number 5 for me is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right.
So your number 3, what criteria?
Yeah,
and
what requirements?
What guys, and who's in that debatable category?
So you got Tim Duncan.
You got Tim Duncan. So in that debatable category for number 3, that 3 position is Larry Bird.
Right.
Who was one of the Larry Bird, man. I mean, you talk about the guy that didn't have physical talent-wise, couldn't run.
Right. Couldn't jump.
Couldn't jump. But at the end of the game, he got 25, 14, and 10.
And talking noise to
and
you.
talk shit the whole game.
Really? That's
Yeah,
what I
he was a
hear.
noise
That's what
talker.
I hear.
He was a noise
Look,
That's what
talker.
I hear.
What?
So, I mean, LeBron is in that, in that list.
Yep, yep.
Obviously at that 3 spot. You
Yep.
know, with him, Larry, Dr. J, what he was able to
At
do
a
to
3.
the game.
Yep.
That was the hardest one for me.
Absolutely.
And
I
if I
agree.
had to pick, I would say LeBron.
Okay.
But I would be like, man, okay, let me really go back to some of these threes and look at them and see what they brought to the table.
Yeah.
Larry Bird, to me, it was so much fun playing against him because he talked so much shit.
Well, what he hit you? What's something simple he hit you with?
He hit you with, you jump high, but you don't jump that high. You can't get this. He hit you with, listen, guys, don't worry about the play. I'm going to go right over here, catch it, and shoot it in y'all face, and ain't a damn thing y'all can do about it.
And he did it.
And he did it. So I remember the 30 for 30 we was talking about, the rivalry between the Lakers and Celtics.
Right.
And I remember talking about, he talked a whole lot of shit, but I guess it ain't shit talking if you backing it up.
Yeah, I'm just
and
talking.
he was backing it up.
Right, right.
And that was one of the greatest things I loved about him, and the fact that the story goes that when he played against Denver, they had a guy named John Hanslick. You remember John Hanslick?
No, I don't know.
6'7", Notre Dame guy, white guy, really good defender, right?
Okay.
They put him on Larry, and Larry was wearing his ass out.
Absolutely.
And Larry would run by the bench and tell Doug Moe, who was the coach, get him off me. That's disrespectful. No, that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And it was like, what's disrespectful?
Yeah.
He says, it's disrespectful for y'all to put a white guy on me.
Yeah.
Put a black guy on me.
I love it.
Put a black guy on me. That's why he gives Coop so much. He still says to this day, Coop is the best defender he's ever played against.
Wow.
Really?
But he was like, you disrespecting me by putting a white guy on me.
I feel you.
But that's Larry, because when he played back in the day, that's all he played against was brothers.
That's
so he was like, don't put no white guy on me. That's disrespect. So
What?
So
I feel
when they
you,
did
though.
that, he said, I had to torch his ass so they understand.
And you ain't gonna see him again.
Get him off me.
Yeah.
But that was
I would
Larry
feel-
Bird.
If you put a white corner on me, I would feel the same way. Like, don't put a white corner out here.
Honestly, I didn't say that,
But that's how you felt.
but that's how I felt. Only because, like I said, like I said, we went to small schools. So, and I was starting to get my feet wet in San Francisco, starting to really, like I said, playing under the wings of Jerry Rice, starting to kind of get my feet wet. And this is when Jason Sehorn started playing.
Yeah,
defensive
Sehorn.
back.
Yeah.
So it was like, again,
Yeah.
one of those great white hope type of things. And I'm like, he's coming in highly touted from the Giants. So it was like that matchup.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm like, I get it, but I don't. I'm like, I'm not gonna allow this dude to.
I'm a torture ass. I get it.
Because I know, we got homies, you know what I mean? We got people watching the game.
Like, how you gonna let that dude shut
If
you
he
down?
talking smack, if he shut you down, they gonna talk all kinds of smack.
absolutely.
I'm
They're
like,
gonna
yo,
never live it down.
Dude, I'm like, but that was my mentality. I
Right.
saw that and it fueled me.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like I had an aggression. Every time I got that ball, I was trying to do something with
Right.
it. Something
funny.
with it. I'm
But
like,
see-
I get you. I respect you to a degree, but you're
Right.
not gonna.
You ain't gonna be out here with
No,
me.
you're not
one-on-one.
gonna
But
lock
T.O.,
me up.
like you said, you felt that way. Larry said the shit.
I know.
To the coach.
All right.
To
He
the
went by the
coach.
coach and told him
Right,
to get him
yeah,
off
yeah.
me.
To the whole bench.
That's disrespectful
Yeah.
for him to be on me. I mean, that's how
love
Larry
it.
Bird was. And that's,
I love it.
One of the reasons that he's still one of my favorite people and players to watch back in the day is because he was true to himself.
Awesome.
True.
He was true to himself. Even the incident with Isaiah saying it, well, if he was a black player, you remember
Just be another player, right.
And Larry was like, man, I don't pay no attention to that stuff.
Right.
Wow.
Man, y'all want to do a press conference for all this. Man, I want to go play ball.
Right, yeah.
And I love that about Larry.
Yeah,
He
Larry's
was
a
just
legend,
true.
man.
Larry Legend was a bad boy.
That's what I try
Period.
to tell people all the time. They just don't. They don't want to
Period.
put him in there. Just be like, you don't understand. Because again,
Right.
he had the killer mentality.
Oh,
he had
man.
the Jordan, Kobe
In a
mentality.
without a
sense, he
doubt.
was like Tim Duncan, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no
but,
fanfare,
you guys
no
heard
nothing.
about it, you know what I mean? Him trash talking, but his game, like I said, we didn't hear any of
No.
that, you know what I mean?
No.
Like he just went out and played, you know what I mean? He just put in work.
Yeah.
Like you said, you look at the stat sheet at the end of the day, he's 25, 10, 5,
Goddamn
whatever.
triple-double.
Right.
Triple double.
Can't
Like
jump,
nothing.
can't outrun nobody.
Right.
But he understood how to play. He was smart as hell. His basketball
Right.
IQ was so high.
Right.
And he could see and this is what I say about great players. And same thing, T.O., with you guys when you guys played as well.
Mm-hmm.
The game is in slow motion
Yes.
when you're a superstar.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The awareness.
Everybody else, the game is going 100 miles an hour, but you see it frame by frame.
Yeah.
So he's already seeing stuff before it happens. So he knows as soon as I catch it, I got Kevin Michale over here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's how his brain worked. And he was so smart, man. It was just, it was fun to watch him play. It wasn't fun to play against his ass.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right,
I mean,
right.
Coop had to guard him. I didn't. I was like, I'm admiring him
that's
from afar.
you.
Anyway, you got him, Coop. You know,
Right.
Coop didn't had to guard him. James had to guard him.
You was over there on Dennis
But
Johnson.
I'm like,
He
man,
wasn't
this
doing-
dude, when I went to the bench and was just watching him, he's like, man, I'm going to go right over here to the corner. I'm going to catch and shoot. It ain't a damn thing y'all can do.
do about it.
Speaking of the phrase you said just then, that you didn't want to play against a guy like that, it's going to be hard to guard him. And obviously, we talked about Kobe. What do you think players going into a game having to play against Kobe? What do you think their mentality was? Because
Listen.
as you said, it's like, it's not enjoyable knowing that
You
unless
about to
you're a
get busted.
competitor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Knowing
Yeah.
because let's talk about the year that he just went off. He had like 50, like a streak of like 50 games in a row.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, one against me because I remember coaching. And it was like, but I can tell you exactly how players feel, T.O., because I had to guard MJ.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And every game that I went in playing against MJ, first of all, I was like, man, I'm happy it's just twice a year. You know,
Right.
he ain't in the West
Yeah.
Coast. I'm happy it's twice a year. And it wasn't I was scared. It was just like I know this dude's a killer. I said, but I gotta go out here and show up.
Yep.
Right.
I'm gonna challenge his ass as much as I can. But I also had to understand that, you know what? Play off his weakness. And at the time, it was his jump shot. I'm like, man, I'm gonna embarrass him to make him shoot jump shots. And it was games where I guard him. He was 6 for 26. And then there was games. The most he scored on me was 39.
Okay.
You know.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot, and he was averaging 31. So, but the 6 for 26, I was like, all right, did my job. Then the next time I
Right. Oh,
played,
that- what?
he
That's
had 39.
Yeah.
But it would take him 30 shots to get it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So I'm like,
exactly.
all right, I'm going to make it hard
That's
on you.
a hard 39.
I'm going to make it hard as hell.
Right. Yeah, it's not an easy-
You're going to
but dude-
respect, I respect you, but you're going to have to work for this. you
Right.
know?
So if a guy's getting an easy 39,
Then you
ooh,
trash.
you can
Yeah.
count the Christmas.
but it's funny because we played against them in the Forum, and it was my 10th year in the league. So it was my last year with the Lakers at that time. We had drafted a guy, Anthony Peeler, from Missouri.
Lefty.
Exactly. So I hurt my ankle. So the trainer's like, I don't know if you're going to be able to play tonight. And I was like, well, we'll see. Let's just wait till game time. So Chicago's bus is coming down the Forum, and I'm walking out. MJ gets off, and he was like, B. Scott, what's up? I said, man, what's up, MJ? He said, man, I heard you ain't playing tonight. I said, yeah, I don't know yet. He said, well, if you don't play, who's going to guard me? I said, Anthony Peeler. He said, the rookie? Shit, 50. Swear to God.
Hey,
Swear to
no
God.
pause.
And so,
No hesitation.
no hesitation. So I go home, I come back to the game, got my suit on. The players go out to warm up, and then Anthony's coming towards the bench, and I say, Anthony, listen. He said he's going for 50 tonight, so what you don't want to do is piss him off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I said, this is how you guard MJ. I said, don't be all physical and trying to body him, because he's going to go around you, man.
Yeah.
I said, back up, give him space, dare him to shoot jump shots, challenge him. He make them.
Right.
I got him. Okay. Every time MJ scored, he looked at me on the bench.
I told you.
54.
Ooh.
What?
54. And Mr. Dunk, Mr. Breakaway Dunk that hit the back of the rim.
Yeah, I remember that one.
54.
The little side
Yep,
joint. Yeah,
yep.
I remember.
Told me, he said 50, 54.
I love it.
That's how bad that boy was.
Whoa.
Mike was a bad dude.
Man.
Mike was a bad dude.
man.
No, so if you're like, okay, you're gonna play the game, right? You're injured.
Yeah.
And then you say he goes out and scores 50. Do you tell the media that you're injured? You're like, I wasn't
No.
feeling 100
I wasn't
tonight.
100%.
Okay.
We had our little saying, with the Lakers, purple and gold, you put it on, there's no excuses.
Yeah, you put it on, it's on.
You
That's
put your
it.
uniform on, we don't want to hear shit. You come out here and play.
All right.
You
Well, let's
know.
take it back to the 2022 Lakers, right? You put it on, right? How do you think the new Laker look is gonna, do this coming up year?
Yeah, we have Darvin
Ham being the head coach and everything.
Coach, yeah.
He
First-
I want to know too, to your point. Just put yourself in Darvin Ham's shoes right now. You get no draft picks this year. You have your roster basically from last year.
Yeah.
The West is not changing, and it's going to
Getting
get
stronger.
tougher.
Right, and I was just
It's
that's my
getting
point.
tougher.
Yep.
It's about to get tougher. How do you get the roster that you have right now to be able to compete and better what they had than what they did last year?
Yeah. You know what? I show a lot of films of last year.
What we didn't do. Because that hurts.
Because you got to
Hey,
address
this
that
is
hurts.
the same. Yeah, this is the same roster, guys. Because first of all, his hands are tied. You ain't got draft picks.
Right.
You can't trade certain guys.
Right.
You know,
Because
even
of
though
the-
everybody been talking
because of
about
the-
trading Russ and all this stuff.
Because
First
of
of all,
the salary.
I don't think it was Russ's fault. You know,
Right.
I love Russ too. I love the way that he plays. You know, Kobe was one of his biggest fans because he loved the way this guy
his
competes
aggression.
every
Yeah.
night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so with this team that we got coming up, number one, you got to stay healthy.
Yes.
That's number one. If
Well,
you stay
I think
healthy,
they, to your point, they have addressed that. The training staff
Oh,
or
they got
the
it. Yeah. They got a
new training
trainer that
staff.
they've
Right.
had
Right.
no longer there.
well, you know what, Gary Vitti, when Gary Vitti retired, that's a huge hole to
For
fill.
sure. Darvin Ham, he has to address some of the issue. Healthy, he can't do anything about that.
Right.
I mean, obviously that's the onus on an
Players,
individual,
yeah.
a player themselves to take care of their bodies, do what's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously aware of the injuries. How do you address, or how does Darvin address some of the glaring things that prevented, them from getting where they needed to be? Obviously, like I said, there's chemistry,
Yeah,
continuity.
yeah.
You have a lot of veteran guys. We did mention Carmelo Anthony.
Right.
And obviously, like I said, you think about Russell, the units that he was on the floor with wasn't a great fit. I know he addressed a little bit of that in his press conference, but I think the main issue is Russell Westbrook. What do you think his conversation is going to be with Russell? Because I think that's the elephant in the room.
Oh, no doubt about it. My conversation would be, the first thing would be is, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to really do you really want to win a championship?
Right.
You done got all the numbers. You done, you done made all the money, got all the numbers. Are you really willing to win a championship? If you're willing to win a championship, this is what you got to do. I even said, last year when they were going through their struggles, if I was Frank Vogel, I said, you know what, I would have a heart-to-heart talk with him and said, listen, I'm going to bring you off the bench. Bring you off the bench with the second unit. You can be Russ.
Yeah.
You know
we
what I
need
mean?
you to be Russ at that
You can be
point.
Russ.
Yeah.
You can get to the basket, take your shots. With this first unit, you can't be Russ because you don't have the ball in your hands.
Right.
LeBron's going to have the ball in his hands, and rightfully so. Okay? And if we're healthy with AD and LeBron out there, we won a championship with that combination before. But bringing you off the bench with Carmelo, okay, another guy that's a catch. Carmelo, same thing. You're going to be able to catch and shoot like he did last year anyway.
Yep.
He was able to fulfill his role.
His role, yeah.
Russ
He played his
wasn't
role.
able to,
Right.
So that's my first conversation. But when like I said, going back to showing videos and clips of last year, you one of the worst defensive teams in the league.
Yes.
I'm gonna show you all the clips on all the breakdowns.
Right.
And guys, is this who
Effort.
we are?
It was just effort. It was
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
effort.
It's
lack
not.
of effort.
That's all defense has ever been.
Yeah.
Is effort. If you can give me that second and third effort.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get beat.
Yep.
But when you get beat, are you just going to stand there or are you going to go to where you think the ball is going? Are you going to help a teammate?
Anticipation.
Sink it to the level of the ball. Things of that nature. So my first conversations with those guys is I'm going to show you a bunch of tape of last year and how we were terrible on the defensive end. And I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing.
Right. Can't do it.
You know what I
anyway.
mean? Because it's so glaring. You got to see it.
Yeah.
Then that second portion of that is talking to Russ one-on-one and telling him this is what you got to do. And are you willing to sacrifice, to win a championship? And if the answer is yes, okay, those are words.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Those are words.
To the point.
I want to
because
see the action.
If you're a champion, right, and you've won championships, and you have to tell a player who's a great player, but he hasn't won championships, you being a great player has nothing to do with winning championships.
Correct.
And they don't want to understand that at
Correct.
times. It's like you got to understand, like there's a way to do the championship thing. There's a way to do the get $200 million thing. It's really two total different situations.
But if you do the championship thing, you're going to get the money anyway.
That's going to
That's
come.
what I'm
That's why I keep telling you.
Yes.
If you win,
Yes.
my rookie year, that's the one thing the Magic told me. He was like, look, when we win, we all win. And, I'm a rookie. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, no, you don't understand.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I do. We win a championship, we all win.
all
He was like,
win.
you don't understand.
It goes beyond.
Yeah, and he was right. Because
was
the
right,
next
though.
year we won the championship, all the endorsements and people,
Everything.
just coming at you, where you turning down stuff.
Right.
Because, it's like, man, I got this.
Yeah.
And then what they couldn't afford to pay Magic, Magic would tell him, and he was great. He was like, look, you got to pay me this amount. And they was like, well, we don't have that. He said, well, call Byron or call Coop or
That's
call
awesome.
James.
Boy, that's my
They
guy
call
right
us.
there.
We
That's
was like, yeah, I'll
We'll
do it.
take it.
Shit.
Right.
I want to be
How much you
I'll
talking
be
about? So
Right.
we made so much money, during the off season.
Yeah.
I came back to training camp. I was like, but Now I know what you mean.
Yeah, right.
You know, and like you said, these guys don't understand that.
They have to be receptive. Obviously, that's to your point. They have to be receptive.
Absolutely.
To really somebody that's been there, done that. And obviously, like I said, your accomplishments are your accomplishments, but that doesn't mean, like I said, you know it all, and your talent is going to really get you there.
Yeah.
I think, for one, also, I'm a basketball fan. Like I said, love Russ, love what he's done, what he's accomplished. I think what's missing in his game is a jump shot, like jump
consistent
shooting.
one, yeah.
Consistent
Right.
jump shot.
So
agree.
is that something that you would address? Like you talking about pulling him in one-on-one, like that's something as a point guard and what he lacks in his game.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, if you know a guy's weaknesses, it's just like you saw with MJ. You know that he can't really shoot that well.
At that point of his
At
career.
At that point in his career, I'm a back off. I'm gonna let you shoot.
Yeah.
If you saw a lot of the games last year, a lot of teams just, I mean, Russ, I'm the defender. They were guarding him like this.
Yeah. Right.
So, like you said, I mean, he's got to obviously
do you think
work
that's
on that.
is that in him to
Go work on
Because I
his
know,
game.
bro, you got to be not just you got to be a realist to understand what you're good at and what you're
So
not
it's
good
not-
at.
it's not that
I
he
mean, bro,
sees
you
it
don't
on
need.
social
I don't
media.
need. Like I know what I was good at and what I wasn't good at. I don't need a coach to come in and show me. Like, bro,
Or
like,
tell me, you know what, you need to work on it. No, I already know.
But here's real talk, because when they were playing the Lakers the year before he came to LA, obviously, right? The Lakers played him the same way. They just let him shoot. So why would you go get that and add that to your roster? That's what I didn't think that was the good move. I didn't think that was the right move.
Listen, they won the championship. Bubble, all that crap don't matter. They won it 2 years ago with 2 superstars. And about 5 great role players that understood
Kyle
their roles.
Kuzma,
Yes.
Alex Caruso, KCP,
big.
and Danny Green.
There you go. And you can throw Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee in there as well.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Huge
saying?
in the playoffs.
They had great role players that understood their roles.
Yep.
And especially JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
Understanding
Great role player.
his journey of where he
Listen.
started and where he's ended up.
Yeah. JaVale said, look, I'm a set picks and roll and block shots
That's it.
and rebound.
And be cool with it. Be
And
happy
win a
with it.
championship. You know,
And that's a credit not only to JaVale, but I think that's a discredit to the coaches that had him initially, because when he went to the Golden State Warriors, they understood what he brought to the game and used it to the T.
yeah. I agree 110%
Because
with you.
everybody's like, yo, who is this guy?
Right.
He been
Because
here.
I'm watching
He been
everybody,
around.
and I'm
Right.
he's
Right.
in Washington. He's on ESPN for all the wrong reasons.
Well, Shaq and the Fool. He was on there.
That's
I thought it was JaVale the Fool. I mean, I thought they were going to rename it. It was so much. But like you said, to his credit, he understood at a point in time that, okay, you know what? I got to be a role player, and there's certain things I got to do on a night-to-night basis to get playing time and to be able to win. The one thing that I do, when I used to coach, I didn't leave it up to the player. I said, this is your role for this team. And I would put it on the 3x5 card, and everyone start off with defend.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone. You know, here's yours, and everyone start off with defend.
That's the mentality.
Big guys, yeah. Some of them next thing was rebound. You know, but whatever it was defined on that card. So you couldn't go to the public and the media and everything and say, well, I don't know my role. That's some bull. I gave it to you in training camp. This is your role with this team.
Right.
Now, with another team, it might be different. But what I need you to do with
This team needs you to do.
this is what you got to do to be successful and for us to be successful.
So what does Darvin Ham need to do to be successful? What is his challenges?
Oof. He's got a bunch of, because he's got a bunch of guys right now that, like you said earlier, that don't have any chemistry whatsoever.
Right.
They have no cohesiveness right now whatsoever, right? He's got to get them to buy in to playing championship defense every single night. 2 teams that's in the finals right now, number 1 and number 2 in defense.
Always. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Golden State, they've been there 6 times in the last 8 years. Every year they've won a championship or even been to the finals, they've been in the top 3 on the defensive end.
Defensive side.
Go back to the Lakers in the bubble. They won the championship. They were one of the top defensive teams in the NBA.
Yep.
It's not a secret.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Defense wins
Football,
championships.
defense.
Absolutely.
If you got a great offense, but you don't have a great defense, okay, there's going to be some times where it's going to be one of those, up in the air game. But if you got a a great defense and a good offense.
Yep.
You got a chance to win. Baltimore won a championship with defense.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? So it's not a mystery. So he's got to get these guys to buy in to playing defense every single night and holding each other accountable.
Accountable, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
You know,
yes.
I don't think they do that. I don't think they hold each other accountable.
Again, it's more of we're having fun. Personally, that's what I see. I go, look.
You have fun when you win.
Yeah, that's my whole.
I don't want to hear that shit. We
It's
having
no fun
Or I
when
ain't
you're
having
losing
fun.
in
Well,
a
of course
city
you
like
ain't.
this.
Right.
You know,
You're having fun when you
can't be
win.
fun. It can't be fun when you're in that press conference. That's when it gets real. After the game, you don't
Right.
play well,
Right.
and they start firing them questions at you, and you have to sit up there and answer it with a straight face. That can't be fun.
It's not.
You know.
You know, and you guys know losing ain't fun, man.
No.
Losing sucks. You know what I mean?
Right. Especially if you're a winner.
Yeah, especially if you're a winner.
If you're
You're
a
used
winner.
to winning,
Yeah.
and you got losers around you.
Yeah.
Man, I remember when I left the Lakers, I went to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Great time in Indiana for 2 years because Larry Brown brought me in there because I was a winner. And he said, I need you to teach these guys how to win.
Absolutely.
And I need you to score off the bench, for me. And I need you to teach them your experience. Teach them.
Veteran leadership.
Yeah,
is what
and it
you
was
brought to
it
that
was
team.
great because I had Reggie Miller, I had the Davis boys, and the number one thing with those guys, they wanted to listen and learn.
Yeah.
So everything that I told them, this is what we did in LA. That's why we won.
And they
They were
took
like,
it.
okay, let's do that. And we got close.
Yeah.
Then I left. I go to the expansion team, Grizzlies, and I'm with these guys. I was like, okay, that's what losers look like.
Yeah.
Man, it's
This
just
is what
different.
losers look like.
It's different.
That was-
It
that
is
was just-
totally different.
Yeah.
It's a different
And I wouldn't
mentality.
say that it was just a rebuilding. I mean, that was you talk about expansion team.
T.O., no. Expansion
A
team, you
losing
put a bunch of,
mentality.
but they just losers. Them dudes, they gotta lose.
Because they're not trying. They're not doing
Listen,
their best day in
No,
and
they
day
come
out.
in for practice. They talking about what they did all night at the club
That's
and
not
what they,
it.
and then they come in.
That's not it.
Practice at 11. They walking in at 10:55, 10:45. I'm like, dog.
That's not it. And you can't
dog,
win like that.
I've been there an hour and a half. I go in the weight room, get my weights on, get my workout in,
Right.
go on the court, get my shots up. And then I'm ready to practice.
Wow.
These guys are just walking in, talking about we was at the club last night, blah, blah. I was like, man, that's what losers look like.
Yeah.
And I found that out because I had never been on a losing team.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
And it just
ask you
separated
this.
it.
From a coach's perspective, because this is what I always wondered as a player, right? I was never the go out and hang out type of guy, or I would never not be ready to practice, right?
Right.
But when you saw a player, the hangout and you heard the story and he wasn't prepared, then goes out and has a bad game, what do you say to that guy? Or do you say
Ooh,
anything?
Yeah,
I always said something because I couldn't help it. Because I had Jordan Clarkson, who's
Okay.
terrific. Love Jordan, and then
Sixth man of the
Sixth
year.
man of the year, doing great in Utah. The boy
Year
can flat
ago.
out ball. I held him back for a while until I thought he was really ready his rookie year, and then I was like, he's ready. Let's play him. But then Jordan was a guy that likes to hang out. But he was young, and I understood that.
In Los Angeles.
And in
In
Los Angeles,
LA,
I said,
right.
listen, LA, I done seen eat up a whole lot of people. Eat you up and spit you out,
Absolutely.
And so me and Jordan having a talk one day, and I told him, I said, listen, I know you go out. I said, and I don't ask people. People tell me.
Right,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course.
you-
People are coming up. Yeah, I saw Jordan Clarkson out last night till 3 in the morning. I was like, so people are just coming up,
Of course.
and just giving me information. It's not like I'm trying to get it.
Right.
And so I remember we were in Sacramento, and Jordan was on the bus. Well, he came on the bus, and I was like, "How'd you do that? What you do last night, Jordan?" And I had already heard. He was
Right,
like-
yep.
And the good thing about him, he wouldn't lie to me. He said, "Yeah, I went out last night, Coach."
Okay.
I said, "Listen, I played too. I went out too." I said, I had fun as well. I said, but at midnight, my ass was back in the room. I said, because I got to get up the next day and I got to run. And Pat Riley's, his practice wasn't no joke. You got to run and shoot around.
Right, well, yeah,
Our
y'all
shoot-around-
walk-throughs just run through.
Yeah, our shoot-arounds wasn't come in and just shoot the ball. Our shoot-around was practice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we played.
Yeah.
And Magic's the same way. It's like, no, man, I got to push that ball up to down the floor tonight. So I can't be going out partying and all this.
Right.
So I said, Jordan, I can understand you partying. It's okay. I said, but you got to understand when to say no and when. I got to get out of here. I got to get rest. I got to get off my feet. I said, you've been doing this for a while. I've been hearing about it. I said, but you need to just kind of slow down and understand, what do you want to be in
What
this
are you
league?
here
What do you want to
for?
get out?
Yeah.
What do you want to get out of this, right? That night, he hurt his ankle. That night, he hurt his ankle, and we was on the bus, and he was just looking at me, shaking his head.
Message.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, it
maybe
gets no
not enough
clear.
rest,
But let me
Jordan,
tell you
over the
something. It
last
gets no
few
clear,
days,
yeah.
And now the kid is just,
Now he's phenomenal. Again, like I said,
he's
$6 million a
phenomenal.
year. But who have you? Again, you've been in LA a long time.
I have.
So have you seen anybody's career trending up, get to LA, lose? Because I know a couple myself. Again,
Yeah, and I'm not going to throw their names out there like that. I'm not going to throw them on the, you know what I mean?
Right, not the name, but the career.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
Oh, yeah.
Because people have to understand, playing in Milwaukee or Miami is totally different.
OKC.
LA and Detroit is totally different
Yeah.
as for a professional
Playing
athlete.
in LA and playing New York, Chicago. Those are places that will eat you alive. And I've seen it. You know, like you said, I've talked to guys, told them right when they got here, I was like, hey, man, listen, LA, will eat you up if you ain't careful. So, just watch what you're doing, watch where you're going, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I've been here all my life.
Yeah.
I said, so I know. I said, but I'm just letting you know. And then, 2 months later, I'm like, he gone.
Gone.
And to you guys' point, when you think about guys, I would say being drafted here, I'm gonna name 3 off the bat that you saw or kind of expected great things from here, didn't happen, but they've gone elsewhere and they are balling out.
Played well.
We
Okay.
just mentioned Jordan Clarkson.
That's one for sure.
I'm gonna go Julius Randle.
For sure.
And Brandon Ingram.
I already know.
BI.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of like, I'm in awe of what they've done, but I'm thinking, how did they get out of LA?
Yeah.
Because you think about the state
you
of
know how they got out of
No, I'm asking the guest here. I'm asking
he
the
knows
guest here.
too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out
The assistant general manager.
how do these guys get out here? Because you think of the state of where the team is now,
yeah.
and think about what if those pieces were still here, in addition to those 4 guys that won the championship in the bubble,
Yeah.
your KCPs, the Alex Caruso's, your Danny Greens, your Kyle Kuzma. Would a LeBron James-led team, what do you think this team would be right now?
Oh, man, they'd be in the finals.
Absolutely. They'd be playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Clarkson was a little bit of a mystery to me that they allowed him to get away. Julius Randle, I thought that was a little bit of a mystery as well. I was, fortunate enough to coach both those guys, and both those guys were willing to work their ass off. And I mean, I saw this on a day-to-day basis. Both those guys were. So I'm not shocked at all that they're playing the way they're playing in New York and in Utah. Not shocked at all. Ingram, when the deal was being done for Anthony Davis, I was sitting there. I was like, listen, I hope you. I know you got to give a lot up.
Right.
But
don't give
if
that
it's
up.
between Ingram and Kuzma, try to sell him on Kuzma.
Right.
Try to keep Ingram.
Keep Ingram.
Right.
But New Orleans got to give him credit. They were smart enough to be like, no, we want Ingram.
We want that guy.
And that young man is nice.
Man, is he not balling?
That young man is
Yeah,
nice.
he's
talking about-
trending up.
and
Yeah.
he's still trending.
Oh yeah, he's going to continue to trend up.
Julius Randle he's shown flashes that have been streaky. I think right now he's streaky. Consistency is what I want to see more of. Obviously, he has that heart, that practice. You can tell, and I've heard he's talked to Kobe, taking some of what his blueprints of what Kobe has done, going to games or teams that they're about to play the night before, going to the gyms, putting up shots, this and that and the other,
Okay.
and you've seen it pay off.
Yeah,
I didn't see the expansion of his jump shot. He was more of an inside guy when he was here.
Right.
Now you've seen him go and take his game out to the mid-range, to obviously shooting the 3.
Yeah.
To, like I said, the development of those guys, like I said, it's been awesome.
It's been great to watch.
Right. It's not a surprise to you.
No, not a surprise. Most improved player, Julian, and then $6 million a year, Jordan.
Right. And then seeing the emergence of B.I., he's their go-to player.
Like I said.
You add, obviously.
He's an all-star.
Right. You add Zion back to the mix, this year.
They could be
like I said,
scary.
the West about to be crazy.
The West is a problem.
They could be.
The West about to be a problem.
The
So
West could
back
be
to the
scary.
point, like Darvin Ham and the Lakers lost LeBron. Have we seen LeBron's last championship? Because the West is not getting any easier. Because you got to look at what's out of the West right now. You got the Phoenix Suns. You got
Memphis.
Memphis.
You got the
who on
Memphis
rise.
boys. That's who I'm talking about.
You got obviously the
you
Warriors.
got Utah and Denver as well.
Yeah.
Man,
Utah, you got
come
Denver.
on.
Yeah.
No, and the Clippers. I mean,
And
we
the
ain't
Clippers,
mentioned
yeah,
Clippers.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
They ain't going
What
nowhere.
can the Lakers expect this year? Because obviously every year it's championship.
Yeah,
for you guys.
it's championship or bust.
So, but do you honestly feel that? Because I understand Lakers, but I've been out here 10 years and I get it. But sometimes you got to be a realist about these things.
Yeah.
Is this a championship year for you guys?
It's much.
Well, you see, you got to be honest. That's the problem.
You got me stuttering because I want to say, you know, I bleed purple and gold.
I know you do.
You know, so I want to sit there and say, yeah, they got a chance, but I don't see it this year.
No.
I don't see it this year unless they can make some big splash.
They have to.
In some
free agency, they
way,
have to.
and I just don't see that happening. So. Again, you got to go with what you got to go with the women you brought to the dance, and that's
You gotta dance
basically
with
the team. Yeah, that's basically the guys they got right now.
Right.
And you got to fix their mentality of understanding that they got to defend every single night. They got to play for one another. You know, it can't be individuals thinking that I got to do this, I got to do that. We know LeBron ain't like that anyway.
No,
Right. LeBron's the ultimate team player.
Right.
You know, because if he wasn't, LeBron could lead the league in scoring every year if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So is it going to take those key guys and those key positions? Obviously, your Russells, your Carmelo Anthony's, your ADs. Is it going to take LeBron and everybody to get in the room like, yo, guys, this is the challenge before us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Multiple times.
I mean,
throughout
they
the
don't have to get in a room with everybody else. It can just be those four guys. Like you said, those four guys should have a meeting,
Absolutely.
and LeBron should say, "This is what we got to do."
Right.
You know, and again, like I said earlier, everybody in that room is gonna say, "I'm with that."
But
those are words.
You got to go out and
you got to go out on the court and show that you are willing to sacrifice
every night.
You know, on both ends of the floor. And if they are willing to do that, I still would not bet against LeBron James in a 7-game series. I mean, that's how dominant he can be.
Right.
It's going to be interesting.
He's similar to Tom Brady. You just don't.
You don't bet against him.
You don't bet against him.
I bet against him once. I ain't never bet against Tom Brady ever again in life.
Right.
And
those other guys.
Speaking of coaching, so do you want to get back in?
Oh,
to
hell
coaching?
no.
Done.
No?
Oh, hell
What if it was like on the ASU?
On the collegiate level,
right?
yes.
Okay.
On the collegiate level, I would do it.
Because you went to ASU, so
I went to
that's
ASU, yeah.
would also be a possibility.
Yeah, but again, Bobby Hurley's doing a great job there.
Yeah.
They got a great AD who I know real well. Herm Edwards with the football program is doing. You guys know Herm.
I know. Yeah.
You know, Herm's the ultimate salesman. You know, and the greatest communicator. You know, around. You know, he's just one of those type of dudes. So, if that job opened up, I absolutely would be interested in. But, like I said, have no interest whatsoever in the NBA.
What's the pros and cons of being a head coach? Obviously, you were a player.
The money. No, I'm just. Well, that's one. Obviously,
that's one, yeah.
The biggest pro is that you get paid.
Right.
You know, crazy as a head coach, opposed to being an assistant coach.
Right. Okay.
But the biggest, every job has its plus and minuses.
Right.
One of the biggest minuses is that you really do have to understand that you got to get everybody on the same page, and that is a lot harder to do than it is just saying it.
Absolutely.
You know. Coaches wise too. You know, I got to hire a coaching staff that I know has my back and I have their back.
Yep.
And one of my rules was always, you don't talk to the media. I talk to the media. Only, because I don't want them to have two different voices or hear something different from you. And I said, because then me and you going to have a problem. You know, so they hear from me only. You know, but everything we talk about in our meetings, guys, you know, you're at liberty to say anything you want. I thought it was upon me as a coach to get assistant coaches ready for the next level as well.
Nice.
So you got certain teams you're going to scout, certain teams you're going to, you know, do the scouting report on, you know, for game day and all that, so they can get used to being in front of the team and talking to them.
Yep.
But, you know, other than that, you know, the biggest challenge is always being able to get guys to be able to coexist and think the same way and all want to just win.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the hardest thing.
Forget scoring.
Right.
You know,
win.
Because at the end of the day with Russ, let's say he wins a championship. He can go to a party and talk to people, and they can say, he can ask them the question, because I do the same thing. How many points did I score in my career? I don't know. How many championships did I win? What, 3, 4?
Right. They know that.
They remember that. That's when you leave your legacy.
Wow.
Winning championships.
That's what leaves your legacy. LeBron, as great as he is, you could have somebody, unless he's a basketball crazed that will understand how many points he scored and all that, what's his place in history in points and steals. But they'll remember how many times he went to the finals and how many championships he won.
I remember that bubble don't count. I remember that too.
You can talk about that bubble all you want. That bubble counts. I don't care. That put us up there with Boston tied. So now we got to try to get one to get. That's why I'm rooting for Golden State so bad. I can't have Boston go to 19 and win 18. I'm rooting for Golden State. So Golden State, if y'all hear me, what y'all did in Game 2, do in Game 3, 4, 5. Let's end this series.
Hey, one of my boys who's a diehard Laker fan, Anthony Shaw, he called me the other night because he tried to get me to bet against Golden State. Because he called me,
it was crazy.
He was like, who you got in the series? He knows I'm a Golden State Warrior fan. So he wanted me to bet on Boston. And then he was like, man, he said, I said, who you got? He said, and he's like, I'm going with the Warriors because he's just like you. He's like, because if Boston gets one more than the Lakers,
I can't handle it.
He knows. He said, I'm gonna hear it from you from here on out.
I can't handle it to you. I'll be like, no. Hey, as soon as they went to the final, but I did feel they were gonna beat Miami. I just thought they were a much better basketball team.
Wow.
You know, and they were better equipped to play against Golden State. You know, where it would be a good series.
Right.
But I was like, once they get there, I want them to win. I'm betting on Golden State everything I got right now. I'm like, look, please. You know, I had to call Michael Thompson and say, man, go down and call Clay and them, tell them,
let's get this thing
make sure they get this series won.
I want to ask you one thing about Kobe. What is your proudest moment, you know, that you saw or you witnessed from Kobe? Because obviously, like I said, to be able to see him in his infancy stage, embryonic stage of his career, and have that talk with Kobe and then see it unfold the way that it did. Obviously, like, we as fans, we saw so many highlights, so many games, and either one game or one moment kind of sticks out in our heads. What moment sticks out are you probably most proud of, you know, with Kobe? And I know that's probably like tough.
Yeah, it is, but it's really two that come to mind like right away. Number one was watching him watch Gigi play basketball.
Wow.
You know,
that was it.
Just watching him. Because he would tell me, you know, because he would bring her to practice and he was like, Coach, she's like me. And I was like, wait a minute, we got a miniature mama with a skirt? You know what I mean?
Mama in a skirt.
He's like, she got my mentality. She gonna be a beast. And as we're talking, she's on the court shooting and playing. And I would look at her and I was like, whoa. You know, so I remember he went to one of her AAU games. And probably a week before that game, he was teaching her to step back. Boom, boom, step back, jump shot, right? So during this game, she stepped back, bam. Came down again, stepped back, bam. And Kobe was sitting there, and all of a sudden he did one of these, you know?
Proud
just
dad.
A proud dad.
Wow.
You know, watching his girl learn and take the advice that he was giving her and applied it.
Have it
You know
come
what I'm saying?
into fruition
And
right
you
in
could
front
tell
of
how proud he was of her. And that right there, I was just like, I mean, I almost started crying because I got a daughter, you know, and I got kids, but just sitting down there talking to him and watching her after practice and the way he would go out there and work with her and then to see it come to fruition, I was like, wow. It was just an unbelievable moment, you know. And then number two, obviously, you know, for me is the last game, 60 points. You know, because that game started off rough.
What?
He was like 0 for 7, 0 for 8, and I can remember just standing up and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and as he's going up and down the court, he missed another shot. You know, he come down, he missed. I was like, damn, I don't want Kobe to go out
like
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I kept saying to myself. I don't want him to go out this way. And then he got fouled. He goes to the free throw line, hits a couple of free throws, comes down, hits a jumper, and then he started rolling.
Started heating up.
Oh man, he started rolling. So, you know, taking him out in the second quarter, you know, I was like, I'm gonna play him a lot. You know, I said, but I got to give him a rest in this first half.
Right.
In the second half, I was like, you ain't coming out. You
It's
know,
all
so
you.
yeah, you gonna play the rest of this game. And I remember with 6 minutes left, I looked up, he had 40. I was like, damn.
Right.
You know, but he was on the bench. And T.O., when I mean he was
laboring.
He was hurting.
But he wasn't gonna stop though.
And I went to him and I said, all right, 6 more minutes left in this game. And it's just like it's only me and him. You know, I got my board, but it's really like me. And I said, KB, you got 6 more minutes in that body of yours?
You
Absolutely.
know what you said that last 6 minutes, it was just you and him?
Yeah.
You just told us at the beginning of the show, when y'all start out, it was just you
Just
and
me and
him.
him.
It
Yeah,
was you and
you're
him
right.
again.
Me and him.
That's
just me and
crazy.
him. And it came full circle.
Right.
You know, 20 years later,
Just
it came full
you
circle. And I'm
him.
looking at him, and I said, "You got 6 more minutes left in that body of yours?" He said, "Absolutely."
Absolutely.
Went out there and just, you know, and again, you know, us as coaches always trying to make everybody think that we got all these
X's and
special
O's.
plays
Right,
and all
right,
that
right.
shit. Man, we would come to the bench. I was like, "All right, Kobe, where you want it?
Like,
Up
ISO?
here. Catch it. Y'all get the hell
Get
out the way."
I
I said,
get him out
unless
the
he
way.
call you, you know, and Julius, I said, "Hey, JR, unless he call you to set the pick and roll,
Then
y'all get the hell out the
get
way."
you- still go
He
stand in
set
the
the
corner.
pick, Kobe come off, bam.
Man,
And then Kobe would just call him, "Come on back," you know, bam. And so that moment for me, especially at the end when he walks off the court, because he walks off with Shaq, he hits Gary V, then he hits me. He gives me the biggest hug and he says, "I love you, Coach." You know, and I was, you know,
Awesome,
just it was a special. You know, I'll never forget it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Mamba
and then
out.
his speech, his speech, you know, and then not only the speech to the crowd, but the speech in the locker room to the guys was, he said, "Listen, I'm leaving this game with no regrets because I gave it everything I got every single night." He said, "I didn't take plays off."
Absolutely.
And that right there, I was just like, if y'all, I told him, I said, if y'all don't learn
From
anything
that,
from this, something
yeah,
wrong
you-
with y'all.
yeah, yeah.
I said, something wrong with y'all. You know,
Absolutely.
and that was just the greatest night, man,
Absolutely.
ever
man.
for me.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the
Man,
show,
we
man.
appreciate
Taking your
it. My
time
pleasure,
out,
man.
man.
Love you
Sharing,
guys.
sharing the
Appreciate
wisdom,
it.
brother.
Yes, sir. For
You,
sure.
you ain't done coaching. I just got a feeling you ain't done coaching. You know what I'm saying? Coach.
Just don't wish the
Byron
NBA on
Scott
me,
is
that's
in the
all.
building. Get your Popcorn Ready podcast.
There it
See you
is.
guys next week.
Byron Scott.